Hey, Pretty Girl Club. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing the talking point you're not ugly, you just hate your skin tone. So, I've noticed a pattern online where I see a lot of darker skinned, unambiguous black women, whether they're from the US or from Canada or from African countries. I see a lot of them talking about how they hate their skin or they sometimes hate their skin. And I'm not bringing this up to try to down talk them because, first of all, we have some dark skinned mixed women on this channel. But I do feel like the way that you perceive yourself has a lot to do with your own personal internalized beauty standard. So let's say you're the type of person whose beauty standards are based on Hollywood. Well, we all know that Hollywood was created by and is run by white males. So if your beauty standard is simply based on whatever you see in Hollywood, obviously, if white men and white women are the main ones in charge of Hollywood, they're the main ones signing the checks, they're the main ones producing the movies, then obviously, if you follow that beauty standard, your beauty standard will be something more like a Taylor Swift as opposed to Lupita Nyong'o. So that's number one. Number two, I see a lot of women who like to call other people colorist, texturist, featurist, etc. But is it not colorist to view your own dark skin tone as being uglier or not as pretty as someone else's skin tone? A lot of people like to talk about when you are being colorist towards someone else, but not enough people talk about internalized colorism. And I do believe that a lot of women who have a darker skin tone, that if they say that they hate their skin tone and stuff like that, I do believe that part of it is based on internalized colorism, meaning being colorist against yourself or feeling like your skin color is some sort of handicap. So I'm actually not judging what people do because I understand that some people, they lighten their skin or they do certain things to make themselves look different. But let me read some of these comments that I found recently on a Black empowerment YouTube channel. This person says, what people don't talk about is that having dark skin as a black woman in the USA shuts you completely out of certain opportunities. People aren't ready for that conversation, though. I wish you the best. I certainly understand. So my question is, what opportunities are you specifically shut out of as a dark-skinned black woman? And also, okay, let's say I'm a dark-skinned black woman and I want a modeling opportunity. Why would I want to model for a racist company anyway? That's not an opportunity. That's not something that's going to bring any positivity in my life. This reminds me of the whole "you're racist if you don't date me" talking point. It's like, I don't want to date a guy who has to date me in order to prove that he is not racist. I don't want a guy to date me so that he can prove that he doesn't favor white women over me. That doesn't make me feel loved. That doesn't make me feel more beautiful than white women. That doesn't make me feel special. That makes me feel like that guy is dating me out of charity. So if somebody doesn't like me, that person can fuck off. That's my mindset. If you don't like me being a person of color, if you don't like people who have blackness as a part of their identity, then I could care less about your opinions. I don't want to support whatever you're doing. And that's another problem that I've noticed in the African American community in particular. So what I feel harms dark-skinned black women the most is the one-drop rule. So you're one-dropping women like Beyonce into blackness, and then people like Beyonce, when they become successful, they become the standard of blackness. So then when you are much darker than Beyonce and your hair is much coarser and darker than hers, or your features are different than Beyonce's, then it makes you feel like you are somehow like this weird, a weird looking black person, or like this odd looking black person. Like that's not how you're supposed to look. So this is why on this channel, I am a supporter of us not using the one drop rule, because I do actually think that it leads to the erasure of the super darker skinned black women. Because if you're saying that people who are literally half white are the standard for blackness, you're making mixed race the standard for blackness, and also you are erasing the mixed race community. So there's a double erasure of identity happening there. You are causing Beyonce to feel afraid, or you're causing her to not be able to really acknowledge her Creole ancestry, while simultaneously making her the standard for unambiguous blackness, when we all know that the average black woman does not look like Beyonce. If the average black woman looked like Beyonce, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. But for the person who left the comment saying that having dark skin as a black woman literally shuts you out of opportunities, my question is, what opportunities does it shut you out of, and why do you want those opportunities? that you feel you're going to be disadvantaged in? And also, who are you seeking opportunities from? Because I personally feel like a lot of this conversation is really centered around the male gaze. It's centered around romantic relationships. And usually when they say, I don't have as many opportunities, what they mean is I don't have as many dating opportunities with black men or whatever man they're trying to date. I've noticed it tends to be with black men because black men are the main ones that they talk about preferring mixed race women. I don't really see them keeping that same energy against white men or other groups of men. But another comment that I saw is, I'm considered brown skinned by some and dark skinned by others. I've never been made fun of about my skin tone. I've received so many compliments about my complexion. I have to admit my complexion is beautiful and has a glow to it. I went to South Africa and West Africa this year, and for the first time, I saw dark-skinned women who were respected and valued by men. They were confident in themselves, and finding love was not an issue. So once again, do you see how even this commenter here, even though she's promoting and complimenting darker skin tones, the reason that she's complimenting it is because you're receiving male attention. So she also says, it was so calming to see people of my race be confident, strong, and loved. The narrative in America is riddled with colorism and racism. That does not mean you have to fall for the lies. Having dark skin means you have melanin. Melanin is good for your health. It's also healthy for your skin. It means you will look younger for a longer period of time. And then she goes on to talk about how, black people apparently came from the Israel tribes or whatever. But I personally feel like here in the United States, the content creators who have made all of this colorism content about how dark-skinned women are at the bottom, nobody wants dark-skinned women, nobody wants to date dark-skinned women, I genuinely do feel like that actually made darker-skinned women look worse or made them look like bad or whatever, as if they were, because they were out there announcing, hey, just so you know, I'm at the bottom. Oh, I'm the ugly girl. Oh, I'm the one that nobody wants because I'm dark skinned. I'm the one that nobody wants to pay attention to because of my skin tone. And so I do feel like as a brand, as a whole, if you're making that your brand as dark-skinned women, dark-skinned unambiguous women, if you're making that your brand and you're kind of making that your identity and you're kind of making that the core of who you are, or you're promoting that as your main talking point about yourself, then I do feel like in the eyes of the public or in the eyes of people who don't really know anything about dark-skinned black women, yeah, that could make other people who would have given you an opportunity to date them, which seems to be what this is all about, that could make those people be like, oh, okay, well, I thought she was pretty, but I guess if she feels like she's ugly or if she feels like she's at the bottom, then okay, maybe I don't want to date her. Okay, maybe I don't want to give her that modeling opportunity. Okay, maybe I don't want to give her a space to, be in charge or whatever. But I guess that is my number one question, though, is what are these opportunities that women feel like they're missing out on, and who are they seeking these opportunities from? Because if you're talking about Hollywood, Hollywood is ran by white males. So what you're saying is, I don't receive as many opportunities from white males as mixed women. Well, first of all, if a woman is mixed with white, then of course she is more likely to receive opportunities from white men because she is a part of their community, even if only partially, just like how she is a part of the black community, even if only partially. So that's number one is, are you seeking opportunities from white men? Because that's what it sounds like. And then number two, are you centering black men and the black male gaze? Because if you look at how a lot of black men have had a history of behaving, we already know that lots of black men hate themselves and hate their own features, and they feel like they're at the bottom of society as well. I've seen a lot of black men using that talking point where they feel like they're at the bottom, and systematic racism has kind of held them down, and the white man is holding them all down or whatever. So I guess that's my first question is, who are you seeking opportunities from? Who are you begging for these opportunities from? Are you looking for a white man to give you an opportunity? Are you centering men in general? Or are you creating your own spaces for yourself and your own space where you can be celebrated? Because for me personally, when it came to the creation of the Exoticals United YouTube channel, I've always felt like we didn't have a community. I've always felt like the only mixed race community was really for if you were exactly half black, exactly half white. I didn't really see as much traction when it came to, let's say, Blasians, or let's say you're black, white, Native American, black, white, and Asian. Like you have more of a multiracial identity to where you're not just two races. You have 3 races in your background, 4 races in your background. You are multi-generationally mixed. I didn't feel like there was a community for those types of people who were like me. So, but for me personally, I didn't go around making YouTube videos saying I'm at the bottom, I'm at the bottom of the community. I don't have a place for myself. No, instead, what I did was I decided to create a community for other women who were like myself and to promote us in a positive way and talk about how beautiful we are and talk about how diverse we are and talk about the issues that we go through and how to overcome them and how to empower our community. So that is one strategy that a person can use to kind of like help their brand as a collective. It's by coming together with other women who look like you or other women who kind of share your experiences and then talking about all of the positive traits that you guys have. And then the more people that come out like you and do positive things, you begin to support one another. And you, for example, I like to listen to MLS music artists like Beyonce. I like to support their music. I like to try to go to hair salons that have to do with my hair texture. So, but the problem in the Black community is they will say that they're pro-Black, but then you don't date Black men, you don't have Black female friends, and you don't support actual unambiguous women who look like you. And by the way, I'm not even trying to tell you you should date Black men or you should like do all of those things because I can see how some of those things would be harmful. But I think that that's a problem that needs to be solved within your own spaces because you can't promote women who look nothing like you and listen to our music made by women who look like us, like Beyonce, Rihanna, etc., wear makeup products made by fellow Exoticals such as Rihanna, and then later on complain and say, oh, I don't feel seen or I hate my skin tone or whatever. Well, I can tell that a lot of these women do hate their skin tones and phenotypes because they won't talk about or support or even pay attention to women who are trying to make it in the industry with their skin tones. And so you are partially, did you know that you as a consumer, you are partially holding back women like Kelly Rowland by not streaming her music, by not paying for her concert tickets, by not going to see her perform, by not watching the movies that have unambiguous women as the lead characters, by not paying attention to, women who look like you in terms of Hollywood. You're actually helping to squelch their opportunities because you are not showing them interest. We all know that whoever has the public interest, whoever captures the public eye, that is the person that generates status. And that is how beauty standards are actually changed. Because when I was coming up, Beyonce's body type or whatever, I wouldn't call that the beauty standard back when Beyonce first came out. It was all about the super stick thin blondes because that's who kind of had the public eye at that time. And then Beyonce came along and she embraced her body type, or, some would argue that she even had plastic surgeries on her body. I don't know. But she just embraced her body type and promoted it. And then you started to see other women come out with a similar body type as Beyonce or a similar phenotype as Beyonce, such as Rihanna. And then people started supporting them and listening to their music and stuff like that. So I do think that a lot of unambiguous women in particular, or women who, let's say you have a dark skin tone or you feel like you don't look like the people in your people group, you actually have more power than you think because who you listen to, who you spend your money on, whose movies you watch, and all of that stuff, that actually affects the way that your personal phenotype is perceived. For me personally, I don't feel like I look like the average Latin American person. I don't feel like I look like the average Latin American person that would be put in the media or put in a telenovela, but I have gone out of my way to support women who I feel look like me, like Christina Milian, like Zoe Saldana, like Cardi B. And I've noticed that those women, as the years have gone on, now I feel like my phenotype is more promoted in mainstream media. And I genuinely do feel like me supporting those women or other women who look like me, supporting women who look like us, I do feel like that helped to create more opportunities for those women. And also, a lot of people underestimate the power of entrepreneurship. So instead of complaining about not getting opportunities from white men or Black men or any men in general, you have the power to go out and create your own business, create your own hair salon, create your own makeup line. And I'm not saying that like you're going to become some billionaire overnight, but you're still further along if you have a small makeup brand. You're further along than someone who has nothing. And I think that that's the issue that I've seen in the African American community. A lot of us will complain and say, we don't have as many opportunities, but at the same time, we're not going out and creating our own beauty supplies on average. We're not going out and creating our own businesses. I mean, some are, but I'm saying on average, the main people who are creating the content complaining are not actually going out and trying to make a difference and trying to change something. So with me personally, with the Exoticals United YouTube channel, I actually am trying to change something. I am creating a YouTube channel where I talk about stuff that we're going through. I do have a course out. I do have a Patreon in addition to this. So not only is it helping me to generate money, but by generating wealth for yourself, you're actually freeing up your time, hopefully, so that you can invest it back into your community, whatever you feel your community is. So if you feel like your community is dark-skinned, unambiguous women, all you would have to do is create a space for dark-skinned, unambiguous women to flourish. You can't get mad that other people of other races are not creating opportunities for you. They're not a part of your community. So why are we expecting loyalty from people who don't even look like us, if that makes sense? Like for me personally, I don't expect Viola Davis to carry my plight on her shoulders. Viola Davis doesn't look like me. She doesn't understand what it's like to be like me. I don't really expect that from her. I don't expect Viola Davis to automatically create opportunities for me. I don't expect Taylor Swift to automatically create opportunities for me. Now, as far as the women who I feel have helped pave the way for my phenotype, like Beyonce or whoever, then yeah, I might look to them a little bit more because those are women who I feel look like me and probably have similar experiences to me in some way. So I think one of the main problems that a lot of people have who have a victim mentality is they're constantly externalizing their path to success. They're constantly depending on others and trying to almost ride the coattails of other ethnicities or other people with different skin tones than them, etc. They're trying to ride the coattails of people with a totally different ethnic background, totally different in every area, and then they get mad and say, well, this random Asian lady didn't give me these opportunities like she gave the other Asian girls or like she gave the Blasian girls. Well, yes, on average, people are going to give opportunities to those who are in closer proximity to themselves. So if there's nobody giving opportunities to you, that just means that people who are in close proximity to yourself, as far as their phenotypes, they are not going out and creating the opportunities. So you're trying to solve a different problem. You're focused on, I'm not getting opportunities, when you should be focused on, how can we create more opportunities for people who look like us? Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.